Hello, welcome to Coull Discussions. I'm Barry, this is Chris. As you can see, we were able to start a fire, keep ourselves a little bit warm. The new carbon tax, you gotta keep that thermostat low, so start your fires, throw those books in there, get all that stuff happening. But remember to cut a hole in your roof first for the chimney, right? That's what we're supposed to do, right? Yeah. Oh, okay, good. So we'll have to do that next show. So yeah. if we just pass out here, it's just from the carbon monoxide or whatever fires give us, I'm no scientist. But anyways, I digress. Today we're going to talk about when animals attack and whose fault it is. The reason that we're going to talk about this is because recently there was a small child attacked in their home by their family pet, I believe it was.
No, I believe the child was visiting somebody, and then they were attacked.
But it was a known pet, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
So we're gonna touch on that because recently there's been some.
A bit of a spike in animal attack incidents here in Calgary, let alone some well-known, at least one well-known one in the States, where it ended up in the result with the death of a gorilla, and everybody was so sad about
Harambe. Now, anyways, in that situation, well, I guess we'll start there with Harambe. And because the child fell into the enclosement, right? And then the gorilla was, I don't know if was the gorilla attacking the baby, or was he just kind of...
That's the thing. I think it's so open to interpretation because, one, the gorilla is... Depending on how you view the video, the gorilla was probably just pulling the boy off to the side and keeping him away from other gorillas.
Now, my question about this, how did your kid get into the enclosement in the first place?
He climbed over the embankment and fell in.
How are you not watching your child when you're in a situation like this? And number two, why is a child able to climb over anything to get into any kind of cage? So I don't think it's the gorilla's fault. The gorilla should not have died in this situation. Number one, the zoo should be kind of at fault. And number two, the parent should be at fault. Watch your damn kid. And the zoo should build... whatever they call them, habitat for this animal, where people can't climb into it. I've seen pictures of parents lifting their kids up and holding them near the glass or over the glass to see and stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing? What if you drop your child?
Yeah. It's one of those things that they need to just learn to put the plastic glass in the bottom, and then. Just so people
Isn't there underneath in zoos, there's always a top part and a walk-by part, I thought.
Not in all zoos.
It
depends on the type of zoo. Some zoos are just there to display the animals, and some are actually there to put them in real natural habitats to, give them a sense of actually living in a place. So that's an example of a gorilla that's, a gorilla obviously can't be a domesticated animal. No.
You have to err on the side of caution with any type of wild animal. But when you think about it, right, when you have a dog, right, dogs are descendants from wild animals, right? Mm-hmm. So they still have their natural instinct of protection and to protect themselves and to hunt and stuff like that, even though they are domesticated. So... I've always been from the side of it's the owner's fault for their dog attacking because they haven't trained their dog properly. I don't think that... I have a cat, okay, and my 2-year-old child climbs all over him. Literally sits on him. And he's never attacked her once. But we've told our kid, you're going to get swatted one day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's not going to be our cat's fault.
It's going to be your fault.
It's going to be her fault because you're jumping all over him.
The missus, she has a grandson, and he when he would come over, he loves cats. And he'd walk up to one of her cats and start, just roughly petting her. And it's no, you got to pet her softly, and you have to come up and see whether or not she wants to be petted. Because if you don't, she's going to get mad. And then... every time he came over, she just got worse and worse. And we... after a while, told him, stay away from her. She doesn't want to be pet. She doesn't want your attention. Just leave her alone. And he would just walk up to her and start petting her. And one day, she went... and then he started crying. He's like, oh, the cat hurt me. The cat hurt me.
Yeah,
what do you expect? We told you not to touch the cat.
Yeah.
It's it's not it's not the cat's fault. It's your fault for not listening.
So like I feel bad when the dog has to be put down.
Oh,
I do. I feel bad
do.
when the animal that attacks has to be put down because it's like they're just doing what they know how to do. What their the instinct is to do. It'd be like if somebody swung at me. I'd be like, well, okay, well, I'm going to hit you back.
Well, that's true. Like in this case, the most recent case, the child was, I guess, savagely. They haven't really said anything one way or the other.
They said he was in critical condition.
They said he was in stable condition, but he's going to be facing a lot of surgeries.
Yeah,
so
it's mauled pretty good.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, okay, that's a really, really bad situation. Like we haven't heard whether or not facial reconstruction or how many stitches. Another example is a Calgary police officer had his dog had his the police dog at his house. And the police dog got out of the yard and ended up attacking a child, and the child ended up with like 50 stitches on his leg.
Eesh.
Now, yeah, on the leg isn't that bad, but okay, in a situation like that, I think the owner definitely is responsible because it is a police dog,
and they are for not having your pet secured, your
yard
secured.
Oh, definitely. It's not the fault of the child. Definitely the fault of the owner. And this dog was actually shipped back to his training camp.
See, that's the thing. I think a regular dog, if it wasn't a police dog, that dog would have been put down.
Definitely.
So there's like a double standard.
No. Yeah, there is a little bit of a double standard. Police dogs are trained.
They're considered police officers. So if you kill a police dog, or you're
actually charged with murder,
with killing an officer. And it carries the same consequences. So like I just think that if you own a pet, like a dog, especially. You need to train your dog properly. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think you need to take if you're a parent and you have a young child, make sure you tell your kids, don't just run up to a damn dog, or you have to be cautious. If you see just a random dog wandering around, don't walk up to it, because you never know. Like, you don't want to get attacked. You don't want.
There's a sense of nowadays, the sense of responsibility is disappearing from the person and being put on to
everybody
entities.
Else. Yeah, everybody else.
Companies,
it's not
government.
My fault.
It's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault.
Always somebody else's fault.
This kind of has to stop. It's like, one, if you're told not to do something and you do it, guess what? It's your fault.
Yeah.
In the case of animals, it's... I guess it really comes down to what the animal ended up doing. If the animal bit you and then run away, sure, that's. I don't think the animal should. It's not the animal's fault. He was just doing what he does. But if the animal savagely mauls a person, that is.
I think you could look at both. You could look at both you could look at the owner and the animal in that kind of a situation, because the owner, okay, how did you as an owner allow your dog to savagely attack somebody? You know what I mean? Okay, so in the situation that happened recently, it was a friendly pet, right? So the pet, they were at the house and the pet was there. So what situation made the dog attack? Because I don't think, now maybe I'm 100% wrong on this, but I don't think animals just attack for no reason.
Generally not.
They feel threatened.
You sit on them.
Yeah, they're protecting themselves or something. You know what I mean? So, like, was the dog hungry? Like, what was so in that aspect, I think you should need to look at the owner and be like, how was this dog treated? Was this dog well kept? Because obviously you see the dogs who are chained up and never let out, and they could have aggressive tendencies. But did this dog have aggressive tendencies? Stuff like that, right? So I haven't even heard of the dog got put down. I know that I saw it taken away
both
by
the dogs were taken away by animal bylaw, and I think the consensus is both of them are going to end up put down.
So are we going to put the owner down for? What I mean?
The owner is being charged for carelessness, and it can be like a $10,000 charge fine. So
that's what happens when we try to domesticate huge dogs in small areas. You see these people with these huge dogs in these little houses, and you're like, You know, this dog is meant to be like out on a farm running around, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's actually one of the things that the missus complains about all the time. It's like, oh, it's such a big, beautiful dog. Why is he being kept in such a small little area? And I agree. Like when you see a husky and he's living in an apartment building, it's
it's what are you doing?
Oh, huskies.
Yeah. Like I don't like the little dogs.
Animals.
Like these little dogs are cats. Cats are meant to be in houses.
Yes.
Or little dogs, like fine. But when you got this huge like thing that's as big as a child, you're just like, what? And you even a house here with the small backyard. It's
At least a house is a little bit better.
yeah, but still, like these animals need to be free. You know what I mean? So I think you need to take that into account as well. Your living area for the size of dog you have. Don't get a big dog just because you want a big dog. Be a little bit mindful of this animal. You know, and I want to also touch on when animals attack in the wild as well. Because, as we all know, when you hear about an attack out in the wild, the animal gets hunted down and killed.
Actually,
90% of the time.
We talked about it in a headline, I think it was last week.
Was it?
The cougar punch.
Oh, yeah, the cougar punch. Bam.
Yeah.
What was that animal? That animal wasn't.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
it was
animal was
see?
tracked and hunted and
There
killed.
you go. There's a prime example. Why is that animal tracked and killed? Okay, yes, it has aggressive tendencies, but you got to remember.
Not necessarily. Okay, in that situation, the animal
hunting.
was hunting,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't call that an aggressive tendency.
I guess, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's not aggressive. It's just a natural instinct to
Yeah,
hunt for food.
and a dog is just as easily prey as anything else.
Yeah.
Right? So that is a natural tendency. And aggressive behavior is coming into a person's
I guess when we
yard,
come into-
knocking over
yeah.
garbages,
Yeah.
coming up to, the windows and stuff like that. They're becoming a little less scared of people. Like, the cougar, after he was punched a couple times, he ran away, and that should have, as far as I'm concerned, it should have been the end of it. There was another incident where we had another mountain lion come into the city, and it ended up being put down after like a 3-hour chase. And I felt really bad for the animal because they
don't really know
it's
any
easy
better,
for us
like-
to be armchair.
Of course.
anything.
Well, armchair
'cause-
anything.
Yeah.
That's what this show is. Cool discussions. The armchair guys.
It's easy for us to do this because we're not in the situation. But, a lot of the fallback from that animal hunt was, why did it need to be put down? And why couldn't it have been trained
Relocated.
and relocated?
And that's what angers me. It really angers me, especially like sharks. I love sharks. I'm fascinated by them. I'm totally And when you hear about like a shark attack, and it's like this huge news. It's like big news, and then there's like, oh, we gotta kill sharks, and thousands of sharks end up dead. And it's like you realize that more people die from coconuts falling on their heads than shark attacks in a year, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just because of the news it gets, and it's like when you go into the water. This is why I don't go into the ocean very deep, and I almost drowned. But because I'm like, I don't want to be eaten by a shark. Those things are like, man, I have so much respect for like those like sharks and any animal. I respect. I look at it and I go, wow, like I see it on Nature Channel and I go, yeah, I respect you.
Yeah, again, we talked about this last week. Talking about conserving nature. It's important for us as humans to keep animals in a native situation.
I feel like we're in their world.
We are, and
We've just
on it way too much.
been like, hey, this is ours because we can, and we have guns, and we can shoot them. Imagine if we didn't have guns and we had to hunt them with bow and arrows.
We'd still slaughter them.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it would
By
be
far,
different.
you think about it, all you need is a hunting party of like 10 people with
guess.
bow and arrows, and you go through and you could just literally wipe things out.
I guess.
The difference is with a gun, you only need one person to wipe things out.
Just be aware of your pets, animals, and just remember that. I think that I think you have to take as much.
Teach your children
Yes.
about care and respect of animals.
I think you need to take as much responsibility in an animal attack as maybe the animal, if not more, because we are the intelligent species. So we need to do that. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel, and share with everybody that you know, guys. we'll see you for the rest of the week, guys. We got a couple more videos coming.
Okay.
Later.
See ya.